everybody, welcome back. It's Krista, and it is the next day. If you are watching this, it is part 3, a continuation of some recordings that I did last night. So currently it is Friday, March 6th, and it is the next morning. And I realized after I recorded last night, it was basically a download, all unscripted, just kind of, talking about my recent adventures, basically being on mission as a light worker, infiltrating the adult webcam industry as a non-nude performer, and how that's been going since it started. I'm not the doer, guys. I can't even remember when I started this. I guess, okay, my first broadcast was actually on the 12th of January. And so I've been doing some performance art, basically trying to raise the vibe of the collective. And anyways, a long story short, the reason I'm doing this part 3 is because I woke up this morning and felt like I should maybe say a little bit more about solutions. Okay, so that's what I want this to be about. Since we did a really long analysis, kind of a reconnaissance of the top 3 sites in part 2, and part 1 was basically kind of my vlog of like how I'm doing, having had to come back in contact with this industry when I am basically in recovery from it. I'm basically kind of working, like if it was a 12-step program and I got to the 12th step and now I'm like giving back, I kind of feel like I'm in that role a little bit. And so there's a teaching element, there's a performance art element. I'm using a lot of things that are hopefully kind of going deep into the psyche of whatever the audience is. And I realize that there are a lot of different groups that are coming into contact with what I'm doing. And even though I feel like I'm being censored and funneled, and I don't really, but I'm doing this in the spirit of spiritual philanthropy, because what I'm doing is not marketable. Okay, like by current standards, I'm basically giving people the exact opposite of what they want on this site. And so it's comedy. Anyways, long story short, it's like a protest, like a lot of performance art is. Cheers to that. We are gonna protest. We haven't lost the ability to protest, at least, as long as we can still laugh about it and have a sense of humor. But honestly, I think we need to get real. And so I felt like my broadcasts, what came out last night, that I'll try to upload today, and I'll upload all of them for those that want to continue, or those that want to just check this part out. Basically, anytime you kind of, like take something away, like you're sort of like requesting change, you need to have something to put back. And I feel like maybe I did not really get into that so much last night, and I want to change that. So I want to kind of talk about, basically I was doing an analysis of some of the, say, problem areas on these platforms, things that, anything from like, I've seen underage girls. I don't like that. I see a lot of occult language, a lot of like just really degradation of the divine feminine. Okay, and I went into that in great detail, and I could say a lot more. But okay, so what could be an improvement? All right, at least I'm not saying solution is like, okay, we can't make everybody happy all the time, but maybe we can make the majority happy the majority of the time. Okay, so this would be a suggestion, and I already talked about this a little bit last night, actually, too, like things that people could be doing instead of like the type of hardcore acts that they're doing now, which basically just makes them look honestly like animals to me. And I think it's very humiliating and submissive behavior, and I don't think it should be on the internet. At least not live, not interactive like that. Not to that degree. Okay? And that includes, just anything with penetration. So what can these performers do, to keep, like, collectively? That's the thing. They would have to kind of like, this is all kind of depending on how much people can kind of come into their heart space and form some kind of a bond where they have some kind of collective bargaining power. Because if everyone did this, or even a small majority, it would grow. So that's why I'm talking about this, because people can still make money. And it's not going to hurt. I mean, I'm talking about how everybody can still go on making money, but if everyone makes the collective shift towards basically supporting just a different type of behavior, but I feel like the resistance is there to like changing the hardcore nature of the business, or just how frigging fake it is. I mean, like I feel like these poor performers, they feel like they have to be so disingenuous about their personalities, and they're just, some sites, it's so obvious. I mean, you're just hustling. You're just hustling, and there really is, and the men are just kind of like getting reinforced for like not really having very good social skills in face-to-face interactions. And it's just I don't know, it's just not very healthy. And it's too triggering, and it's too addicting, and it makes people compulsive. And anyways, I mean, I feel like it's a sexual addiction that we are battling, that has been, heavily financed and indoctrinated into the collective. And there's a lot of layers to that. There's a lot of programming. Okay, so the two things that I would suggest, instead of people doing these fake acts and hustling and, hardcore stuff for tips and whatnot, or catering to fetishes that are gross and completely perverted. Anyways, okay, everybody likes dancing, and we need to make it fun again. I would suggest everybody just start dancing. Wear what, and performers can wear whatever you want. I mean, even if it's like seductive, but I think people could have a lot more fun. I think the performers could have a lot more fun, and if they collectively did that and made it known to the audience that that's what they're offering and this is how it is now. See, that's what it's all dependent on. The controllers have everybody on these sites brainwashed and MK Ultra to, like they're just pushing the buttons and, like spinning the dials on these mostly female performers. And it's really keeping the divine feminine down. And when the divine feminine's down, we're all down. All right? So it's a sad reality. I think that, we've seen, we're on that pendulum, that zeitgeist of like, we've seen where everything goes with the divine masculine. I think we're at that pinnacle, and we're going back the other way, where it's like, we need to just reclaim our sovereignty and our self-respect. And it's like, yeah, I like to dance, but honestly, divine masculine sexualized everything so much. And by that, I mean, the ones that are the power elite, it's mostly a masculine energy. And that's what they finance. That's what they support financially, or the making of a lot of, movies. And I mean, my gosh, people that are supposedly mainstream actors and actresses, they've taken a lot of nude shots, and holy crap, there's nudes out there on the internet. I've seen the first lady's boobs. I mean, it's like, this is where we're at currently. It's like, and anyways, I'll get to that in a minute. Like what I think, I think people should be able to choose if they want to be nude or not and enjoy their nudity. So there's that. I'm not putting anybody down. I wish I could enjoy my femininity a little bit more. I used to. I used to enjoy like putting on a dress. I really did. I'd like to do it now. But I feel like if I express that side of myself, that all I'm going to get is like looked at a certain way, and that's not how I want to be perceived, and it just ruins it for me. And I think that's true maybe for a lot of women, and I hate that because I feel like I want to be free to express whatever side of myself, whether it's a drag king, extremely masculine. I have an extremely ultra feminine side, and I also have a very like just like, hey, do you like my beige cardigan today? Don't follow the white rabbit. Follow the beige rabbit. Okay? Cheers to that. Okay, so I think I'm probably running out of hard drive space. I got a message yesterday after I did that long record that my storage space is critically low, so I need to do something about that. But the other thing besides dancing, I would say, would be also games, which a lot of people do play, but just primarily keeping it focused on a game of some kind, cards, spinning the wheel, just, things for flashes maybe. Um, I think some nudity is probably okay, and if that's what people want to do, but it's sort of like a shift away from a lot of the hardcore stuff that maybe people should be. Honestly, I think it would be better if people who want to consume that type of content were kind of like steered, socially engineered to, buy it on a pre-recorded format or get it or download it somehow. But the live stuff, I think, is just completely creating a new level of debauchery and low vibes, and just like it's just we're just going, we need to start, coming back the other way and getting some balance in that, where the energies are going with the collective root chakra. So dance, like games that, have limits. And I think, definitely the performers should enforce limits and talk about how they need limits, how they need a break, or how they need to eat, or how they need to go to the bathroom, or just, being more authentic as far as, maybe that's not sexy, but that's the whole point, is to desexualize, like I think people feel like they have to be fake to be acceptable and to make money. And if everybody got more real and authentic and just did what they wanted to do and had fun, I would say anyone can dance. Maybe your dance is, funny. Maybe it's sad, maybe it's awkward. It doesn't matter. It's however you express yourself, and it can change. But it's definitely expression of you. And then there was one other one that I meant to say, and now it's escaping me, so I'm going to pause this for just a second, see if I can get it back. Well, whatever it was, I should have written it down. It was only like two things that I had to remember, and now like the second one completely escapes me. But anyway, anything basically that I've been doing on cam, I think is something that anyone obviously can do. Like I do a lot of kitchen shows. I'm just not doing it in my bra and panties, so if more, if people want to do that, I just, like have nudity or semi-nudity. I think that's, that's their choice, obviously, but maybe again not like having things in different locations and actually doing something like making a meal. I think that's like a really kind of nurturing thing for people to watch. ASMR shows, just a lot of like what's popular in the mainstream. If people started doing that more, like things that, like cooking shows are popular on YouTube. Any kind of like reading to people. Like I do some of that sometime. I guess just kind of anything that people see me. I wish I saw more people kind of copying some of the things that I do like that, because I think it's about basically filling the time with these activities that aren't some race to get a woman nude. And they're like having some contest that leads up to that, or like people, I wish people would maybe kind of start to think about what they're selling, how they're selling it, who they're selling to, how it's affecting the collective, what it's doing to people's minds. If that's really all they have to sell, I think people just I think this was my case, is I never had any encouragement, or no one like built me up or propped me up or told me that I was good really at much of anything. And so I think that's probably true for a lot of these women. Like, the only thing they've ever really been reinforced for is their body or their looks or their face or their, there's something that, men, the male gaze, have like been like, yeah, and if that's the only thing that you've ever experienced getting any form of approval from, you're probably kind of addicted to that. And I think that's true for so many women. And it may be you're getting that attention from your dad, or I mean it. And and if you have had any kind of contact with occult groups that have harvested you, I mean, it's even, it goes even deeper than that. So, there's a lot of deprogramming on a lot of people for a lot of reasons on a lot of different levels. And unfortunately, on some of these top sites, I mean, there's obviously people that are, um, experiencing a lot of emotional conflict, and yet they're covering it up with a lot of programming. And there are light workers that I mean, they don't know what they don't know, you know and they're completely hijacked, and it's hard to watch. And by hijacked, I mean a variety of things. I mean, there's one in particular. I mean, she's trying to like, I mean, she's very out about the fact that she wants to spend her tip money on therapy because she feels like, she really needs it. And yet, she's a delightful chat host. I mean, it's like you don't see your own inner beauty. You don't see your own grace, your own generosity, I mean, there are so many people that, I mean, it's like the ones that have the most like love in their hearts that seem to have been just targeted the most as far as not really receiving support, and being attacked. So, and or it's like there are, one of the things that keeps this particular lady down, um, I have noticed, and she's actually, I'm concerned about her because she hasn't broadcast in almost 2 months. Um, but I've kind of followed her over the years, so I kind of know like a little bit of her history, but coming back to kind of take a look and see like, oh, what's new. It's like this guy, there's like one in particular that's still in her room. It's probably her top tipper, but he acts like he's like kind of her crotchety old man, like her drunk alcoholic husband that's got an opinion for everything and is constantly cutting her down. And because he tips, she keeps him around and she talks to him and like constantly repeats his name and stuff like that. And I tried to befriend her and let her know who I was, just as a real person, like back in 2018, and she didn't respond. And I think I mentioned this before. Like she's the one that I don't know. I just got a feeling, just intuitively that maybe she just wasn't ready for that, or that maybe I don't know. I don't know. I think I really don't know. But I get the sense that maybe some people feel a little bit scared by my boldness in my performances, and the fact that I'm not following the formula. And I felt like that's maybe why. Is that, and I just think that she feels a lot of inner self-loathing that has been programmed into her, and it breaks my heart to see, because I see a lot of beauty in her. And it's like I do in all the performers really, but I can also see like their chief feature, or you know their weakness that is being exploited. And it's hard. 22:22 on the, as I glanced at the recording. Um, anyway, so I just wanted to put another one out, really, and hopefully this, the bird song in the background is an improvement on the audio. Um, but I guess I'm doing this because I care. I do care. But I feel like it's a balanced type of caring. I'm basically just kind of looking at it almost as if I don't know, like if I was in a position to be the boss or the employer or whatnot. I guess this is kind of what I would recommend. Like if this was my platform, my site, I owned it, I managed it, this is the kind of behavior that I would encourage in the performers. It can be done. It can come from the top down, or it can come from the bottom up. But basically, when a group of women that are in control of a lot of men's root chakra get together and as a group of some size, even a small group, could change things, or at least make a statement of what is possible, which gives other people the idea and the more like, oh, you could do that? I have a choice, really? And that's kind of what we're doing, is reminding people you actually do have choices. You just feel like you don't, because you've been indoctrinated to think that you've had your time harvested, your money stripped from you, your creativity is not encouraged. And yeah. So that is why the world is the way it is. But if we make some of these small changes to the existing systems, it really is about, like, if you're wherever you find yourself, you can create some change for the better. Just with your sheer presence and will and how you're responding to things. And we really all are giving each other literally ideas all the time. And so when they're high vibe, you know, it builds. If it's low vibe, it builds. What do you want to tune into? What do you want to transmit? You know, I'm trying to keep it high vibe. I'm trying to navigate a really delicate and, you know, an important area that really, you know, it's there's a lot of concerns, and there's a lot of, you know, items on that needs improvement list. But there's also, you know, a way to address that is hopefully, you know, suggestive, nurturing, hopefully even funny, or, you know, humorous at times, and lets people, you know, start getting back into the groove of, like, you really can think for yourself, you know. And aren't you lonely because everyone is so isolated from each other, especially women, you know, encouraged to just kind of be competitive with each other, which is, you know, a gross distortion of the divine masculine in the negative polarity, which ultimately just, you know, competition, unrestrained, without the divine feminine, you know, intuition coming in with a conscience, is, you know, ultimately destructive and entropic. So we need to start going, you know, the pendulum back the other way. Let's all, you know, join hands around the planet and, you know, collectively ascend our individual consciousness, you know, connect with other people, and you know, try to ascend those around us wherever we find ourselves, you know, in real life, in your 3D, you know, getting in your vehicle, going to the store, going to your work, going to your activities, or whatever you're doing in the online world. So thanks for listening, everybody. Cheers. I love you. Jesus loves you. Everybody loves you. I think, you know, the more we just tap into that right there, everybody loves you, and you can do whatever you want, and you can have fun with it. And you can let go of programming that's keeping you down, keeping you limited, keeping you in a box, thinking you can only do this one little thing, this one certain way, blah, blah, blah. And you have to, like, you know, suck up to people and systems you don't even like or respect. There, I said it. Cheers to that. I heal my inner child. Whenever I give back. And I access my Buddha nature whenever I give back. And I laugh like a big fat Buddha. Ha ha ha! Every time I give generously. I believe in miracles. La da da na na ra fa fa. Oh my gosh. of fortune. I think the last time I actually had a real fortune cookie was on December 8th, 2017. Ooh, well, there's a fun date. What were you doing on December 8th, 2017? Anyways, I kept this because it says you have many friends because you're a leader and a good follower too. I thought that sounded good because that is about being in balance. And first you have to be a good leader of yourself and your own emotions. And when you can do that, it's a miracle. All right. So if you got that going for you, I'm sure a lot of you do. I know you do. Then, even if you're on the snail's path, which I've kind of been on that slow but steady path, even in this state, even with all the trolls, naughty trolls, spank, naughty troll. Even with all that, you woke the heck up, and thank you, sister. Thank you, brother, for waking up and sharing all of your friggin' spiritual juiciness with the collective. I feel honored to work with you. Honored and privileged. For those of you that are spreading the light, thank you. All right. And that's all I'm going to say for right now. So I will bring you another mission update probably, I don't know, when I feel called to. Definitely I'll try to remember to do one at least monthly. All right. Love you guys. Mwah! Thank you.